something that is always connected to our approach is the context. We all like make a long and deep observation of the context, and not the context as only physical space or something like that, but a collection of different layers that we observe, like of course, the physical layer, the landscape, the social layer, the uses. We are called like a lot of attention on the uses. So
the local uses.
Yeah, the local uses.
I think that the places where the projects are and the local thing is a really important thing for us too, because we couldn't make the same project or have the same ideas everywhere. So I think it's a common thing, but we really want to catch the particularities of a place and of the uses of this place, and try to reveal them, even with small things, even with details, to reveal them in our projects. So I think that's a really important thing in our approach too.
And actually, we also try to reproduce like the feelings that we had when we visited the site, like what we really felt. We wanted like to feel like the same magic when we do a project. I was like, okay, this is like this sound. I like the sound of the wind, for instance, and we have to keep like this wind blowing. You know, we don't have like to stop it, for instance. You know, this kind of thing, and the smell. Like we wanted to keep like the smell. For instance, for a project that you talked about, Asila, for instance, in Morocco.
Exactly.
We had like this site, and
we were like intimidated by the bigness and the beauty of the site, no?
Yeah, exactly.
And at the beginning, we didn't have any idea. We were just like sitting, and we didn't know how to start. And finally, we decided to. Every one of us had to write his impressions, his souvenirs of the site. And then after that,
and drawings also. We made also drawings to reflect like the feelings that we had, and it was sometimes even contradictory feelings. We didn't feel exactly the same. It was hard like to synthesize it into a project. And then the idea was like to try to keep a lot of things that you can do on the exterior, like a lot of uses. Like you can make your shower in the exterior. It's okay. You're gonna dry with the sun and all this stuff. And we tried to find. And this place was like really cool because you had like this high plants or something like that just nearby you, so you can like hide there and you just like put a bench and you can discuss there. Like this kind of little spot that we found good in the site.
And I think that with this project, what is really interesting is that at the beginning we just saw photographs of the site, and we had a first project. And finally, the client invited us at Asila to see the place, to see the site. And when we were that, we just looked at each other and we said, no, it was the wrong project that we made. We have to start it again. And so that was really interesting, and that explains and shows the importance of the local and of the uses and
and actually. It's true that you said, but now I'm remembering that, because in the beginning, when we were doing the paper architects, we made a project, but by the volume, by the massivity. And then we went there when we saw the site. We were like, okay, we have to make a project through the void. Like the void is gonna create architecture. So the emptiness, the empty space is gonna create the real project. I think that was like our approach. And we discovered that by being there. We're like, okay, the site is totally amazing.
So we had to adapt to the site. So I think it's really difficult to make a project just with, photo of a site. Even
and Google Earth.
That's a difficult thing, because we want to have clients abroad. But so we have to go and to see the sites and to meet the clients and to see how the places are lived and used by local people. Because you can just make a project just with ideas and photos. It's not possible. So that was the proof. To be on the place, on the site, is really important.
Yeah, and it's very important because I know that because we worked in other studios and all this stuff, and now like the use of Google Maps and all this stuff, especially for competition, it's really replacing the fact of being there and catching like the real feelings and observing the real uses. And I know, like we all know that all our like colleagues and all this stuff, this is what they do. Like in a competition, of course, they're not gonna go to a place like I don't know where. They're gonna use Google Maps and they're gonna like check and check. And I think we really like this new technology. It's leading us maybe to a wrong path. It's giving like good things, but it's also like leading us to a wrong like way, I think, of thinking about architecture. But maybe it's gonna be different. It's gonna be like so much different than like the year that passed. I think the approach to the site. I think it's I don't know, like since I've been studying in school and since I've been working in school, I think we are the children of the crisis. I mean, it's always been said like to us, okay, but it was better yesterday, and now it's the crisis. So it's true. I mean, I always lived under the crisis climate, and especially in architecture. And nowadays, like architects, they don't have like hands free to do whatever they want, and they cannot like stump it to a table and say like, okay, this is how we have to do it. As we think about like the old architects, you know, they had like a very big political role, you know, in the city, and yeah, now it's different, and yeah, we can feel the in France, it's. You can feel that the role of the architect is less and less respected. Of course, we have like a lot of auto-criticism, and we forget that we had, I don't know, like three French Pritzker Prize, like the past 20 years. So everything is not that black or not that gray. But as we now like experience the how like to work here in France, I mean, it's something that's that I feel that the role of the architect is less considered. But I think now we are in an economy that has to be like so efficient, and I think architects are looked at as a kind of obstacle to this efficiency, and I think it's very hard, I think, to impose your ideas, and I think we have to. That's why maybe sometimes it's our approach to develop our own command, maybe like to try to find like new fields, new area to develop like new experiences and all of that. Of course, like now we are young and it's easy to do it, but I think we're gonna like have like a classical path, you know, by the days passing. But yeah, I think in France, I don't know how it is in the other countries. Maybe they all like how to say they all like complain about the same things, but I can feel that in France, yeah, I think the architect is very, but like not well considered, and it's kind of hard. So even your authority, like as an architect, is always questioned.
And I think, I don't know if you agree with that, but I think there is less confidence in young people and less place for young people to start.
Yeah. And of course, the competition is very hard. And now, like with all this new like way of communication, you have like this big amount of informations, and you can't even like how to say like I think there's too much information. Like we're too much informed, and I think we don't find like how to say like real information about architecture. I think we don't discuss about architecture anymore. We have like a lot of flow of informations, like this, like how to say this, speed motion, speed web, and all this stuff. We have a lot of information. You can see like a lot of images, but behind that, we don't discuss about architecture. So how we can like change the role of architect if we don't discuss about like the core of architecture? This is like something that we really fear in France. And even I think the time of architecture, it's so different from the political time. I mean, if we agree that the political is the one that's behind like all the commands, the public commands and all this stuff, and this politic is limited by the time of his mandate. But architecture is sometimes like longer than that, so it has to think about the future. So you think like about generation or 10 years above or something like that. And I think the time of architecture sometimes is not, it doesn't fit with political time that is related to democracy and all this stuff. Of course, in France, like in the 70s, in the 80s, and the 60s, something like that, all the political power was like, how to say, concentrated into what we call a préfet, which is like one man, and he knows that he's there like for 20, 30 years. And of course, like he can accompany like project and all this stuff with architects for like long term. long-term reflection and all that stuff. And I think we lost that. We won a lot of things, but I think we lost that, like this time to design, this time to plan things.